Well, Grassroots Central Mass grew out of an organization called Brookfield Indivisible. And Brookfield Indivisible was organized by Peter and Trudy O'Connell right after the election in 2016. The mission essentially was education. And it was really fantastic. And it was called Brookfield Indivisible, but it did encompass quite a few towns. But Peter and Trudy got exhausted, as we all do, and there wasn't as much participation from the membership. The membership would come to our meetings, but not so much participate in the day-to-day work of the organization. Several of us got together and we decided to regionalize our programs so that we had more people from more towns, and that therefore we would have more energy from a whole group of people. And that worked out really well. I think at that point we sent out a survey that Sarah Heller developed to ask people what was most central to them, what would be the goal of an organization such as this. And overwhelmingly, on all of the different aspects, overwhelmingly the goal was to defeat Trump in 2020. And so we decided to move more toward advocacy and action, whereas before we had been focused on education as kind of the groundwork for modifying the way people thought about things. One idea was to have a launch party to celebrate the new organization. And so that occurred up in the Ice House in Barrie, I think toward the end of 2019. And that was a great event. Tanya Ness-Lucen spoke about her run for the state representative seat from this area, Warren and Sturbridge. And Tara Brown also spoke about how to bring your own creativity to the process. And it was a great event. It was well attended. We had a lot of fun. There were probably like 40-some people there. And it was a great brainstorming event where people sat in groups and answered different questions about the climate and came up with actions that they wanted to take. And we were planning to take that Climate Cafe model on the road to public libraries in the area, but the pandemic kind of put an end to that. And so once the pandemic shut things down, we've been meeting virtually, and we've been doing postcard writing, we've been doing letter writing, we've been doing phone banking and texting for candidates across the progressive spectrum. Before the pandemic, we did participate in a variety of rallies. So we went down to Worcester for the March for Our Lives rally that was organized by young people who were fearful of shooters in schools. And we also attended a really excellent event called Lights for Liberty, which was to support immigrant rights within the state of Massachusetts.
And water power, ironically, is clean. It's a clean energy source. And if we're going to have a clean economy and clean energy in the future, this should be exactly the sort of place where it starts.
COVID has just highlighted the fact that we need to reinvent so much of this country.
And so I think one of the things that's really positive about Grassroots Central Mass, and we spent a long time trying to figure out what our name should be, but I think what was positive about that was it brought the most active people from the various groups to one group where we could bring our hopes and dreams for a better situation together. And I think that was an upswing. It's just a weight on your shoulders that is extremely hard to bear, and bearing it alone feels impossible to me and to some others in the group as well. I think the ask is to be as engaged as you can and to communicate with whoever you know or feel comfortable with in the grassroots organization so that that individual can help you take a step, whether that's encouraging people to actually vote, explaining the difference between voting by mail, voting early, voting in person, sort of giving people this notion that there is someone that you know in this group that you can reach out to at any time who will say, you need something to do that will make a difference, here's this and this and this and this, pick which one you want.